He watched his old boss get a standing ovation for the project he built from scratch. The lights hit too bright, turning the stage gold, like perfection on display. The man at the podium smiled wide, soaking up the applause as if he'd earned every second. Alex stayed at the back, one hand on the strap of his backpack, the other clenched just enough to stay still. The screen behind the stage ran a demo video, smooth, confident, flawless. He didn't need to look twice. Every button, every animation, every lazy corner of that interface, it was his. He knew the quirks, the shortcuts, the comments he'd once left in code that said things like temporary fix, revisit later. Now those same quirks had someone else's name stamped under them. The crowd whistled when the slide with the company logo came up. The boss said something about teamwork, about vision. Alex could almost laugh. He'd been the team, the vision, the sleepless one who stayed until the monitors blurred and the vending machine ran out of snacks. Now he was just the guy near the exit door, watching someone else take credit for his nights. A woman next to him clapped hard, leaned in, whispered, "He really pulled this one off, huh?" Alex nodded once. Yeah, he really did. The words came out steady, too steady. The mic squealed. The boss laughed, brushing it off. Even our sound system's excited. He joked, and the audience roared again. For a second, Alex imagined unplugging the cables backstage, walking up, saying something, anything. But he didn't. He just let the sound fade. When the applause finally ended, people started standing, grabbing their phones to record the last seconds. Alex slipped out before the lights came up. The hallway outside was dim, quieter. He pulled off his badge and turned it over, his name still printed neatly under former lead engineer. His thumb pressed against it, hard enough to leave a faint bend. Then he slid it into his pocket. He walked past the glass doors into the cold night. His reflection trailed him for a few steps, then vanished into the dark. He woke up late the next morning, the kind of late that doesn't feel like rest, just delay. The sunlight pushed through half-closed blinds, cutting lines across the small apartment he had barely unpacked since the layoff. Coffee gurgled in the cheap machine. The smell was sharp, burnt at the edges. The laptop hummed on the table, still open to job listings that all sounded the same. Innovative environment, team player, flexible hours. He had checked them all. None checked him back. The phone buzzed once, another recruiter's auto message. Same polite rejection, same empty tone. He deleted it without reading past. "Thank you for your interest." The fridge hummed. Upstairs, a kid stomped across the floor, like time itself had weight. He sat down and opened an old folder out of habit. Dev_archive_2019. Inside, layers of forgotten effort, snippets, notes, prototypes that never saw daylight. It was like opening a box of his own fingerprints. One file caught his eye, readme_old. TXT. The timestamp blinked at him, predating every corporate commit in the company's public repo. He scrolled, half smiling. At the bottom, one line, authored by AK. Simple, undeniable. He cross-checked the current product's repo, which was still public enough to browse. Different timestamps, missing notes, cleaner structure, too clean. Like someone had taken a cloth to his history. For the first time since that night in the auditorium, his chest felt steady. Anger didn't burn anymore. It aligned. He placed files side by side, old and new. The small differences spoke louder than words. Same logic, same structure, same bugs only he knew how to trigger. The kind of patterns no outsider could fake. The cursor blinked like a heartbeat. The coffee beside him had gone cold. Outside, a delivery truck backed up, its beeping syncing with his thoughts. Steady, mechanical, final. He whispered, almost to himself, "You wanted credit? Fine. Let's make it public." The hum of his old desktop filled the room. It wasn't anger anymore. It was precision waking up. The next nights blurred into one long stretch of blue light and half-empty mugs. Alex barely noticed the hours. His body moved on instinct. Open, test, compare, log, rewrite. He wasn't trying to destroy anything. He just wanted the truth to show itself when the world was watching. That was the line he kept repeating in his head. Not revenge, just exposure. The old backups ran slower than he remembered, ghosts of his former self. He restored fragments of code, the first build that still carried his habits. Messy names, rough notes, dry jokes and comments. Then he watched the company's version handle the same process. Shinier, scripted, but hollow. The magic they sold was just polish. The substance was still his. He began building a mirror environment. Not an attack, just a reflection. The idea was simple. When the demo ran its fake, smart prediction module, his mirror would show the real output, the one tied to his early algorithm, complete with his signature behavior. It would surface only under one condition, the same input sequence they always used during public presentations. A perfect reveal, a quiet proof. Around 3 a.m., he stopped. His hand hovered over the keyboard. One press, small, invisible, but final. The cursor pulsed in rhythm with the fan. He thought about the last meeting before he got fired, the awkward silence, the nods. They were going in a different direction. The boss hadn't even looked up from his phone. That image still lived behind his eyelids. For a moment, it almost felt like hesitation. He pressed enter. The screen blinked once. Logs scrolled, green lines, timestamps, everything alive again. For a second, he felt nothing. Then came a stillness, sharp and weighty, like the moment before a storm starts. He leaned back, listening to the hum of the machine. A faint knock came from the radiator, expanding metal. The sound echoed through the small room, steady, rhythmic. It almost felt like an answer. He whispered, "Okay, let's see who notices first." Outside, the city slept, unaware that something had just changed. The live stream started at noon. The company had rented a sleek venue downtown. Tall screens, slow jazz, the kind of event meant to look effortless. Alex didn't go. He watched from his apartment, laptop balanced on the edge of the table, the screen glowing pale against the half-drawn curtains. The stream buffer spun once, then the feed locked in, his old boss standing on the stage again, smiling like nothing had ever cracked. "Today," the man began, "we show you the next leap in predictive systems." Applause. Cameras flashing. A small microphone glitch popped. That quick, sharp static that made Alex's skin tighten. The same sound from the last time he saw him on stage. He leaned closer. The boss clicked through slides, voice full of confidence. The demo interface appeared. The same one, same flow, same scripted sequence of inputs. The first numbers came up right. The audience clapped. The second set lagged, a 1-second pause, barely noticeable to anyone else. But Alex saw it. That was the signal. The next command triggered the visual. The screen froze, then redrew itself. Bottom corner. One small line appeared, plain and quiet. It said, "Authored by A.K. April 17th, 2019. It stayed on the screen for 5 seconds, long enough. Someone near the camera said, "Wait, what is that?" The crowd quieted. The boss froze mid-sentence. Another click, a nervous laugh. "Little bug," he said. "Happens sometimes in dev mode." But the feed zoomed in. The label blinked again. Then another appeared, deeper in the log view, scrolling live. Old commit messages, mismatched dates, a perfect digital trail. No one clapped now. One of the investors leaned forward, mouthing something to an assistant. The music that was supposed to play for the outro didn't start. The silence hit harder than any sound could. Alex sat back in his chair. The radiator clicked once. The neighbor's TV mumbled faintly through the wall. For a moment, everything felt suspended, like the air itself knew what had just happened. Then the stream cut to black. He didn't smile, didn't move, just closed the laptop slowly, palms flat, like sealing something shut. By morning, the internet had done what it always does: amplify everything. Screenshots of the frozen demo, the tag, authored __A. K. The boss's blank face, everywhere. Some called it a data integrity scandal. Others just said karma. Alex scrolled through headlines without stopping. The company released a short statement: a technical inconsistency under investigation. He could almost hear the PR team choking on that phrase. Then came the leaks: old logs, internal emails, screenshots of archived repos. None of them traced back to him. He'd made sure of that. By afternoon, his inbox filled with messages from former coworkers. A few holy shit texts. A couple of cautious congratulations. One from an unknown journalist asking for comment. He didn't answer any. The laptop stayed closed. Instead, he went outside. The sun hit colder than he expected. Wind pushed down the empty street, carrying that faint metallic scent after rain. He walked to a small cafe he hadn't visited in months. The barista didn't recognize him. Maybe that was a relief. While waiting for his order, his phone buzzed again. An email subject line: credit correction notice. Just that. No sender name he needed to read. He opened it, scanned the first lines. It was official, record adjusted, authorship restored in the public documentation. Nothing more, nothing less. The coffee steamed between his hands. He looked out the window. Cars moving. A kid dragging a scooter along the sidewalk. A man arguing on his phone. Ordinary noise. The kind he'd missed. When he got back home, the apartment smelled like cold air and old electronics. The README file still sat open on the second monitor. He scrolled to the bottom again. That same single line. Authored by AK. He didn't change a thing. Just pressed save. Then turned off the monitor. The room went quiet. Just the tick of the cooling fan. He stood still, letting the silence settle. Heavy, but clean. Outside, a siren rose, then faded. The world moved on.